Hi guys, today we're looking at gradient. Okay, so what we look at first of all is when we're looking at this diagram here, we can see that the gradient of 8, so the answer to this is we've got a gradient of 8. How do we get to the answer? So we can see the x value increases by 1, because you can see it goes 1, 2. And how many times does the y value increase? Well, it goes up by 8. And this is what we do with it. So we use the letter m to represent the gradient, okay? And we put our rise, so our formula here is rise over run. Make sure you write that down. Now, what does rise mean? Well, you know what rise means go up. So if we look at our diagram, it means this, okay? So if I write it down, it'll be our rise will be, so m is equal to 8, and then our run, so over here, our run will be going this way, we run across, will be 1. Alright, and that 8 over 1 equals 8, because anything that's over 1 equals 8. So it tells us our gradient here is 8. So that's what you basically have to do for that. You do your rise over your run, and it'll give you your gradient. Okay. Now, things obviously get a bit more complicated, where they're going to give you just, I can't think of the word now, they're going to give you just coordinates, and they're going to say to you, what's the gradient in that? Okay, and what you're going to do with that is you're going to do your rise and your run, but you're going to do the change in the y value to the change in the x value. So it will be your y2 over y1, your x2 over x1. So I want you to also write that one down, because that's important that you remember that as well. Okay, I think we've got to the bottom of our page. Yes, let's. Page. So let's do that. So for instance, it'll say to you, a question will say, do you find the gradient of the line joining 5 and -2 and -1 and 4? Now, one thing that's important to remember, this question also did say, draw it, that when you, because it was my question, is which do I use first? Do I use that or do I use that? Once you've drawn your picture, you always go from left to right. So we start off with this coordinate, and then we do that coordinate. Okay, so a really good idea to plot it, because otherwise you get a completely different answer if you don't do it right. Okay, so we know that we've got to do rise over run. Okay, so we're going to go m is equal to rise over run. And we know that m is equal to y2 take y1 over x2 take x1. Okay, so let's write it down. So we said from left to right, so we've got, and this is what I was talking about, -1 and 4, and we've got 5 and -2. Okay, so and this will give us x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, so go back to black. So we go y2 take y1. So y2 is -2 take y1 will be take 4. And then x2 is 5. Is it 5? Yes, that's negative 2 take, oh, that's a negative 1. 5 take negative 2 will be 5, and x1 will be take negative 1. And that becomes a plus, because a take and a take becomes a plus. So if we move that down, negative 2, so let's just write it again, m is equal to negative 2 take negative 4, which gives me negative 6. And 5 plus 1 gives me 6. So 6 goes into 6, I need to write again. M is equal to 6 goes into 6 once, and negative and a negative gives me a negative, so my answer is negative 1. All right, so that just shows you how to use your x's and y's. So just remember what's important that we have to remember in this one is, where's my arrow? That. Y2 take y1, x2 take x1, and we're doing our rise over our run. Okay. One more thing I wanted to tell you about was your gradient. Now, also probably a good idea to write this down. If your gradient goes that way, okay, so now it depends which way it's going to run, but if it goes from left, so if we over here left to right, and it's going down, so you always go from left to right. So you always go from this side to this side. So left to right, always, always, always. So that's your rule. Okay. If it is going, so I want you to write left to right, always. Okay. If it's going up, it's a positive gradient. Okay. If it is going down, you got it, it's a negative gradient. And you need to actually write the word out. Okay, so you always go from left to right. Where's my pointy thing? Always go from left to right. So even if the line goes like that, you're going to go from left to right. So it's now going to go up. And if it goes up, it's positive. If it goes down, it's negative. All right, so now I want you to go and give it a go.